So, capital service line contribution. An electricity company can collect such charges for providing electricity connection and or transfers at any transformers at new areas. See, on request basis from the customer side, the electricity company provides electricity connection to the locality which is not regularly connected. At that time, whatever the rules framed by the State Electricity Regulation Commission, it will be applicable. And coming to the generalization of these transactions, see, for suppose it is a capital expenditure. So in this capital expenditure, arranging a transformers, it involves a huge amount. So in such cases, we receive, as an electricity company, we receive contribution from the customers as well as government grants for contributing the capital expenditure, and some of the amount the state electricity board has to bear it. So anyhow, how to deal with this customer contribution for service line? So whenever we receive cash or bank from the customer, we have to pass the journal entry cash account or bank account data to customer contribution service line. So this will shown under the capital reserve in reserves and surpluses. So what amount we have to show it? So this is not the exact amount we have to show. So okay, anyhow, this amount shall be amortized in profit and loss account in the proportion of the depreciation provided on the concerned asset. So okay, let's go with an example. Electricity company has incurred a capital expenditure of 100 lakhs having life of 10 years. So 10% of the cost is capital service line contribution from the customers. So 10% they contributed. So how to journalize this entry? So we received a contribution from the customer. Once we received, so cash account or bank account debtor to customer contribution for service line account. So cash account debtor, cash account debtor to service line contribution account. It is how much? 10% of the cost. 10% of the cost. Nothing but 10 lakhs. 10 lakhs. So, and we have to amortize, we have to amortize this contribution. We have to amortize this contribution. So for this purpose, customer contribution for service line account debtor to profit and loss account being amortization of contribution. So how much amount we have to amortize? So how much amount? Customer contribution is 10% and lifetime is 10 years. So every year up to lifetime amortization amount will be 1/10 portion. 1/10 portion. Why? Because here it is mentioned in proportion to the depreciation provided on the concerned asset. So according to the regulation 2009 of Electricity Act, the depreciation we have to calculate by using straight line method. So we have to calculate this amortization amount by applying straight line method throughout the life of the asset or throughout the life of the capital expenditure. So after amortizing this 1 lakh rupees, so still there is a 9 lakh remains. What we have to do with this 9 lakhs? This remaining 9 lakhs we have to show under capital reserve under the header reserves and surplus in the balance sheet. See, this will be shown under capital reserve in reserves and surplus in the balance sheet after amortization. So the service line contribution account debtor to profit and loss account being amortization of contribution. How much we have to amortize? 1/10 portion, that is 1 lakh. This is how we have to deal with this customer contribution. So another one is grant and loan received by electricity company under APDRP. So APDRP is a government program. So it improves distribution network and reduces the distribution losses or transmission losses or theft. So under this program, government provide some amount as a grant. If and loans also they will provide it. So how to deal with this grant and the loan? So grant they will provide in two kinds of situations. In the sense, nature, what kind of nature it has, for what purpose they provide that grant. If they provide that grant to meet the capital expenditure, we have to treat it as capital grant. If they provide the grant to meet the losses, we have to treat that grant as a revenue grant. So losses generally we mention in the profit and loss account debit side. So to meet that losses, we have to show that revenue grant in the credit side of the profit and loss account. And if they provided to meet the capital expenditure, we have to treat this as a capital grant, and we have to show this under the capital reserve in reserves and surpluses in balance sheet. So that too after amortization. So after amortization to profit and loss account. So how to amortize this? How to amortize this amount in proportion to the depreciation charged on the respective asset. So for loan, how to treat with this loan? So if government provided any loan to the electricity company, that loan we have to treat it as a long-term borrowings, long-term loan, and we have to calculate the interest against the long-term borrowings, and that interest we have to show it in the revenue expenses in the debit side of the profit and loss account. So how to journalize these grant and loans? So, grant received for capital expenditure. For receiving grant, bank account debtor to capital grant account. So, for amortization to profit and loss account, capital grant account debtor to profit and loss account. So, while preparing cash flow statement, these grants and customer contributions for service line, just we discussed about the service line contributions. So these grants and customer service line contributions, we have to treat it as a financing activities. Okay, how to generalize the entry for the grant received as an incentive? So whenever we received it, bank account debtor to profit and loss account, because we have to treat it as a incentive grant, and to meet the losses in profit and loss account, we have to show it in the credit side of the profit and loss account. So We'll go with the example. So generalize the following transactions. So XYZ electricity company has incurred capital expenditure of 100 lakhs, having life of 10 years. 70% of cost is a grant from the central government. Okay. So first entry. So grant received from the central government. So bank account debtor to government grant under APDRP account being capital grant received. How much they received? 70% of the cost. That is 70 lakhs. 70 lakhs. So after receiving it, so we have to amortization. We have to amortize the amount to the profit and loss account. How much amount we have to amortize? As life of the capital expenditure is 10 years, we have to amortize 1/10 portion of grant received. 1/10 portion of grant received. We have to amortize. So government grant account debtor to profit and loss account being amortization of 1/10 of capital grant received, that is 70 lakhs by 10 years. So it comes around 7 lakhs. So what about the remaining balance? So the balance amount of grant after amortization will be shown in the balance sheet side, reserves and surpluses under capital reserve. This 63 lakh. So and another example, an electricity company is incurring losses. So it receives 10 lakhs as grant within brackets incentives from government. So if grant received as an incentive to meet the losses, so what is an entry for it? We received the grant, so bank account debtor, and we are charging against the losses. In the sense, we have to show it in the credit side of the profit and loss account. So the entry will come bank account debtor to profit and loss account. Bank account debtor to profit and loss account. So another one, another accounting aspect.